Hello, fellow Factorians, and welcome back to my Pyanodons challenge run. During the last episode, I was doing a lot of base maintenance, trying to get my logistics science working, or working well enough that I could go into hands-off mode and feel some level of confidence that it would pull through. I didn't feel very confident, and I was correct not to feel confident about it. I also worked on recycling the meat that the Vrauks produced into even more tin. At least that was working out pretty well. So I had another failure incoming, and it was kind of foreseeable after I looked at the base for a little bit. Power is becoming a problem. Yep. There's also a small logistics error, and for some reason, when I loaded back up, my production combinator was set to 1 minute intervals. So you see, that's why at the beginning I had to reset my alerts, but at the end it was a real alert. Logistics science has one more bug, or at least hopefully just one more bug. But yeah, the big issue is power is insufficient, and I'm going to have to work on that during this episode. So let's jump into that and see how I managed to tackle it. So I've had a failure. My failure is twofold. First, I have a little problem here, or rather up here, with Petri dishes not getting onto this belt fast enough, and that's why logistics is failing. But I've got a much bigger problem, which is that power is running dry. Like, my steam tanks are down to 4K out of 27K, and that is really not good. I've added a warnings here that will, from now on, count as a failure for me. Probably want to turn that down. Yeah, so whenever this lights up, we'll count it as a failure, because I'd rather address it before it becomes a brownout rather than after it becomes a brownout. So I've added a memento mori for it. Number 23 at 276 hours, almost 277. But I've got to reset my timer, reset the other timer, and jump into hands-on mode to fix it as fast as possible. So I've got a little order of operations queued up for me to do things. First, I'm going to set my maul to make me a few things. Now I'm going to grab materials to get started, and my maul can sit back and do its thing while I get to work on the early items that I need to make. All right, I probably should have fixed this right at the top, but there's two things that I want to fix here. First is that caravan outpost was not collecting the fish guts appropriately. That's okay, the fish piled up a little bit, but no big deal. But this up here is a little bit bigger deal, where I need to fix this Petri dish extraction. Quick fix, and hopefully this is going to take care of the logistics science problem. Definitely will not be taking care of my power problems, though. I'm going to have a few different fixes for that. So I'm just going to keep collecting materials and make sure that I've got what I need to get before I head out to work. Okay, hopefully that will do it. Now to run off and start implementing a first emergency measure. And the emergency measure is to dump all of these augs that I've got sitting inside of a train into my power generation here. This will kind of save me from the immediate brownout issues, but it's definitely not going to be a permanent solution. For that, I'm going to need to build a lot more things, but for now, this should save my bacon. Yeah, there we go. As you can see, I've got a bunch of spare generators here that are not running right now because I don't make enough augs for them, which is deliberate. Like, I don't want to have the exact right capacity. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to burn my augs when I need to, turn them into tired augs. But at the moment, it also means that I have spare capacity to use up those fresh augs. Anyway, I will build a little turnaround here. Should have built more of these around the base, but for now we'll just do this and get on to the next area that I want to tackle. So the next thing I want to do is I want to make more coke oven gas, a little bit more. I noticed that I'm almost at making enough hot air, but it's still not quite enough. And this additional coke oven gas will make sure that my petri dishes can run, although they are starting to back up now, which is a good sign. And also make sure that I can run these with the better hot air recipe. Now, you may be thinking, what the heck am I doing with all these buildings on top of my raw coal patch? And that's because I'm going to do something the mega basers like to call on-patch production. Yes, I'm always going to be looking for little UPS optimizations, and this is going to be one that I think is quite clever, where you put buildings on top of a patch if you can get away with it. And I've got really big coke patches, and I'm not going to need to make as much coke oven gas in the future as I do right now. So I think I'll be able to get away with using this extra space that I've allocated for myself with my my build settings early on, my map settings early on, to go ahead and just do some of this this on patch production. And the point is basically you can avoid putting a bunch of resources onto a belt and then extracting them with inserters by mining directly into the machine. So I'll have miners pointed right at those buildings. And a lot of the times this is not going to be something I do. It's going to be kind of a waste of time because frankly, it's not that many belts worth of stuff, and it's just, or the actual costs are not that high. But in this case, for instance, I'm turning, five, each of these is doing 5 raw coal per second and turning it into 2 coke. So I can, skip a step there and not put all that 5 raw coal per second onto a belt. So yeah, that's the plan here. I'm going to finish building this out, and I'll be back after I've done it. You may be saying to yourself, by the way, isn't this going to be wasting a whole bunch of resources that you have sitting in these patches? And the answer to that is kind of. This means that basically half of the resources can't be mined with the density that I'm achieving. Like one miner here is exactly like midway between these 2 miners, but that's not the worst thing in the world. I can just come back and kind of shift this over a half step upward. Oops, did I not? I thought I did. It's not getting built. Okay. I can come back and shift these resources a half step upward, like I was saying. And the fact that I'm getting kind of lower density mining that I'm doing up here is okay. It just means the patch lasts longer. And it's one of the advantages that I can get away with when using trains. I'll just use more patches rather than use the patches that I have initial access to in a very dense fashion. So yeah, I think it's going to be a useful strategy in certain cases, not all cases. With all of these optimization problems, unless you're just doing optimization for fun, which, that's kind of what I do also, you should be looking for the lowest hanging fruit. So there's going to be things like optimizing automation science as much as possible is going to be really useful. But optimizing, some of the stuff for Pi 2 just is going to be pointless, and I'll use more standard traditional designs for those. Was going to change over one of the caravans to also service this one, but looks like all of them are dropping off ash. So my ash supplies are now entirely coming from either must or should ash sources rather than from the ash that is generated straight from rock wool, which is kind of a good thing, I think. It means that I'm basically efficiently using up the ash that I can use. So I'll hook this up, and I'm going to go up to my hot air area because I want to do a couple of things out there. I noticed that there's a couple that are undersupplied with bricks, and I can toss in a little bit more bricks to make them run better. And also I'm going to set it up so that when I'm low on power and also have a surplus of the high temperature coke oven gas, like look, it's coming up to the limit, I'll dump some of that higher temperature coke oven gas into the low temperature coke oven gas line to be burned. So yeah, like right here, I could use a couple more bricks right here. It's not way off, but a little bit, and every little bit helps, I guess. Okay, and now I should be able to shift these over to using the hot air recipe again. So the real solution, though, I've got two other solutions, but the one that is going to do the bulk of the work is just more geothermal plants. And you've seen me do this before, so I'm going to put down 4 additional geothermal plants. This is gonna, obviously be a big boon for my power production. Give me about 300 megawatts by themselves. But yeah, that is the real thing that I'm doing. So there's going to be a period of music where I exploit the 4 sites that I found, and I'll be back after I've done that. While I'm here, I also wanted to do one more thing, which is to move my train stuff. Like I'm doing some bespoke demands, and I was doing a lot of bespoke demands for trains. So I would like to move that over to a different location because it's kind of cluttering up the bespoke demand area. Also, I would like to expand the amount of trains that I'm asking for because I'm going to be using up the same supplies in the future for something else. I'll be using up the gearboxes and shafts for a different target. So for the time being, I'd like to make as many as I possibly can right here, and we'll buffer those up for future uses. And then when I switch over to making that other item, which I'm not mentioning what it is, but if you caught a peek of my technology screen, you'll see what it is in just a second. Those will be using up all the intermetallics and other supplies. So for now, we'll just make a bunch of trains. So I'm going to go back to working on a geothermal, and I'll be back pretty shortly. Well, not that shortly, actually. For you, it'll be shortly, just maybe a couple of minutes. But for me, it's going to take some time to drive my train around. Okay, so that is 4 new geothermal sites, and my caravan programmed my marathon runner who's got tasked to circumnavigate this whole planet delivering wood. Hopefully that will bring my power back up to snuff. It is coming, but it's going slowly. My guess is that, yeah, some of these have just only now gotten up to temperature. So that's one thing, but it's still not going to be potentially enough power because, yeah, let's see how my augs are doing down here as well. Oh, the reserves are gone. That is not great, but they're all running right now. So I do have one more thing that I'm going to do to enhance the power situation. But if this is not enough, then yeah, I might be stuck or, looking for a better solution. All right, let me remove these demands and start work on the next thing. So the next thing I'm going to do is produce some more acetylene. I need acetylene for 2 reasons. One, I noticed that I don't have enough to make lead when I'm doing things like building a bunch of rails. So yeah, that's one issue. Also, when my titanium and lead mining are both going, and I'm also using acetylene to power some of my smelters, yeah, the situation is just not great. And second of all, because I can use it for additional power when all of those things are not going on, or just because, I'm going to build enough acetylene that hopefully there's going to be an excess. So yeah, I've got 2 more acetylene production areas planned right here, and I'm going to see about getting both of those going. They should each produce about 90 megawatts of power in acetylene. Some of which is used up in the production, of course, so it's not really 90 megawatts, but yeah, it should help things out. Okay, as soon as this gets its coke, it should produce all that extra acetylene. Let's see where we're at on power, because with those, yeah, we're actually doing good. Because even before the acetylene's starting to run, it looks like I'm slowly coming back. Although part of that is due to these all running, so maybe that's not still such a good sign. Okay, well, now we enter the real time of questioning whether I should try and build even more power. Like I could build some more acetylene production in here, or I could try and find some more geothermal sites. I think there's one, yeah, like somewhere deep around here. Or yeah, I've got quite a few options, but it all depends on whether I think I'm power positive or power negative at this point. My science is at least running pretty well. We're at 2.2, but we've been running at 2.4 most of the time, so I think we're okay. On logistics, by the way, the Pi 1 is stubbornly staying at 4.7, and I haven't figured out why. I thought it might be being low on Petri dishes, but that turns out maybe not the problem. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my time. I still haven't reached the early deadline in the episode. I've still only used up 50 minutes now. So I might do a couple of cleanup tasks and check in on my power once the AUG reserve is really burned out. Or, yeah, let me think for a second. Okay, well, there's one obvious thing that I need to tackle, and this is something that I'd forgotten that I'd planned for, but I did plan for, and I need to add more gravel voiding. So I'm going to double the gravel voiding I have by making an extra soil extractor and feeding it to landfill production, and I'll be right back afterwards. Okay, and that fixes that. That was pretty easy. Surprisingly easy. It fit in there pretty well. All right, let's get into a couple of other fixes that I need to look at. And then I want to look at the rest of my base and make sure that the work I've done isn't broken. Like, I want to go over here and add some more storage for my trains, because, yeah, looks like I didn't account for just how many I'd requested. Here I'd like to remove these hydrogen tanks. They can now go ahead and be deleted. Just need to connect that up there. And the extra hydrogen, I guess, will make me a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of fuel. Steam. Okay, that's taken care of. Now, down at the meat area, I need to fix one underground. I actually thought this whole meat area was going to be my downfall, like the meat apocalypse coming through and all these spoilages. Like, ooh, that's not good. I guess there's an imbalance because I switched where the inserters go. That's not great. I might have to take care of this. Okay, let me. Okay, yeah. I switched where the brains and guts go, I guess by accident, so they need to be fixed, because I don't want latex to stop working. Like, these are fine, but these down at the bottom are switched around. Maybe I can just fix this by hand moving it, or some of it. You know what? This is just going to be wrong. I'm going to add something, do something better here. What is the problem area? It's the guts. All right, I'm going to add some extra guts voiding to some of these. Don't love it, but I guess it needs to be done, because otherwise I'm just going to have problems. All right, now I can remove some of this jerky that formed in the chests. Okay, disaster averted. Let's look at power. Is it coming back? It is, but I think that may still be due to my augs overperforming, filling up those generators. So how are we doing with the other builds that I worked on? Oops, I missed a bit. All right, that's an easy fix. I do want to run up here. I need to remember to fix this power pole. I forgot to do it earlier. Looks like I need to fix water, although I did put in extra water here. That's odd. Okay, there's a valve issue. Seems like the bane of my existence, valves lately. So I'm going to fix that, and then maybe I will put in one more geothermal plant. Let's see if we've got a good one. This is factory search, by the way. It's very helpful for me to find geothermal nodes that are hidden in the dark or in the light. Looks like I could have just built this one earlier. Okay, I'm going to build this one as well for safety's sake. I've got a couple of extra tanks now to do it with, too. Okay, this area is fixed up. I might remove one of these last works, because, yeah, with the patch fading, it's not really doing anything anymore, or at least one of them isn't. I had one more fix up here that I needed to remember to do. I needed to hook up this boiler to water. Had not been accidentally, so spoilage wasn't getting voided through there. All right, now I can go hook up this geothermal plant, and I think that might be the end of the episode. Okay, and this is done. Just made the caravan, my marathon runner, come out here, although I had a full load of treated wood for this spot. But yeah, looking pretty good. Let's once more check power. Yeah, definitely coming back, and I assume my augs have mostly settled back to their... Well, no, there's still some extra here. This would be maybe half full if it was under normal conditions, but I have a feeling, or I've added approximately, let's see, five geothermal outposts, which is 375 megawatts, a little bit less than that, 370. If these are working full tilt and actually providing power, they would be another 150 megawatts, although I'm not sure that they are. This doesn't actually look like it's getting full. But the coke oven gas is also providing some extra power as well. So when I looked at it, I was running at about 4.3, 4.4, and I knew I was running fine previously at 3 gigawatts before I added the AUG power. The AUG power adds another 1 gigawatt, so hopefully this should be okay. I think I'm going to call it an episode, partially because I'm rambling, and nobody needs to listen to that. I'll have a lot of interesting stuff to do next time. This episode was a little bit of a patchwork thing as usual when I'm doing maintenance, but next time, hopefully I'll be doubling my simple circuits. I'll have some new builds on the train network, assuming I get the full hands-off period to mess with things. And yeah, I should be going to hands-off mode anyway. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you guys next time.